Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing something different. I'm here with Tanzz.
Yo,
About a month ago, I released a new single with Tanzz. So he did all the production there and I sang and helped mixing. So what we're gonna do today is basically go through everything that we've done and how we came up with the song Dying Inside. So it does have a great meaning, it does have great production, great
yeah.
vocals, mixing and everything. So we're gonna go through everything here and I hope you can learn something new. Alright, so I'm just gonna give this to Tanzz and he's gonna explain how the production went through, how he came up with the melody, how he did all the mixing,
Yeah,
and how he finally came up with the song Dying Inside.
yeah. This FLP is actually pretty huge, I would say. Actually, the biggest FLP I worked on till now. So, yeah, I started the song with just the melody at first. I woke up at like 2 a.m. just to, jot down the idea of a melody I had. I just opened a Nexus piano and just created a simple melody which I had in my head. So, this is how it sounds like. So yeah, that is pretty much the melody you hear in the final version. These are the final chords. I think I changed a bit, but changed the chords a bit, but yeah. Okay, this is how the chords in the second pattern sounds like. And also I pitched it up an octave, so it gives that nice. Yeah, I exported this. I just had the melody and the chords by now. I just exported it and I sent to him. He really liked the idea of it, and he said finish the rough instrumental and just send me. And yeah, that's what I did actually. So let's start from the first. So we have a few impacts, and I have the bass over here. Just a simple Reese bass. I didn't do a lot of processing to it. Added some EQs to boost the mids and some highs. Using automations is one of the best way to enhance your song, your production. Yeah, so yeah, that's why I use a lot of automations in my song. So after that, I just added an ARP. Simple Nexus ARP, added a sidechain and some reverb to it and an EQ. Muted guitar from Musical Lost V2. Yeah, it's one of the best, man. I love it. I love this pack. Yeah, I added a lot of ambient guitars from the pack. It's just so good.
Yeah, I really like those ambient specs and all.
Oh, by the way, this is not the main project. I mixed and mastered. Actually, under the stems and had to like export those stems into a new project and mix it separately there. Also mastered it over there. So yeah, this is not the final, but pretty much the final because this is the MIDI project. I added some pads from Silent One Vengeance. I mean Vandalism. Yeah, I added this like at the last. So I just worked on the rough idea and then I just added the pads and ambient stuff at the end. So yeah, I think working on the idea first is the most sensible way to get your song done in a least amount of time. So yeah. Okay, so we come to this part, which is like you can hear some snaps, some orchestral stamps, stuff like that. So yeah, I use a lot of choirs and strings here and there. So yeah, use a bass guitar for that, for the low end, and also like automated the volume with the balance. Like I said, that's why I use the balance. When I was working on this part, I like really had goosebumps over it. So I just added an organ from Citrus. He recorded some guitars for the song, and I just added it. I didn't do much processing for that. Yeah, pads, voice pads, here and that. Over here, I just added a shaker. So now we come to the build up. So it starts out with an impact, cut out some highs, lows, and boosted some low mid or high mids. Added some reverb, like a lot of reverb, boosted the DK all the way up, low cut, yeah. And I heavily added some ODTs because I wanted to have the ODT effect. So yeah, also I added the Pro Q for to cut some harsh frequencies, and I added Kickstart for the sidechain. I rendered the drop pads from the drop, and I just low cutted it. It kind of opens when it's building up, so it gave that uplifting vibe, which I really liked. I added a clock for the countdown effect. I like it a lot. Added some risers from the music core pack. Okay, I added the staccato from Flex. It has a lot of strings and pluck presets. If you're a FL user, you can check it out. Riser with the panning effect. I just used an automation for that. Like I said, it gives an uplifting vibe, which I really like. Let's go to the juicy part of the song. So these are the leads actually. So let's go plugin by plugin and see what layers I added. So saw for it, and simple piano. I use the same piano in as the build-up. Yeah, a lot of saws. There's a pretty famous one. It's called Lead Angel one. Used by a lot of famous artists in the EDM scene. So if you want, you can check it out. Yeah, it's basically full of saws. Added a voice to give it like a plucky feeling to it. Added a brass to add the orchestral feeling to it because it sounded too electronic and too sawy. So yeah, not a lot. I didn't do a lot of processing, but yeah, I just added some EQs to boost the highs and mids and cut the lows. These are pretty basic one. I added some reverb. I boosted the DK level a lot, and I also increased the low cut. I added some ODTs, set the depth to like 29% or something. So yeah, added a decapitator. I don't think a lot of people use this on their leads, but I've been using it since a long time. So yeah, it's a great plugin. I would recommend it. And yeah, it's fully balanced. I use Fab Filter to cut some harsh frequencies. Okay, so I use this to cut down the low and high frequencies, the harsh frequencies. Here's Kickstart for the sidechain. Set it on 70% because I didn't want it to be like full. Okay, so add some fills, crashes, white noise to boost the ambience, some claps. Okay, so these are the bass. I use the basic silent one bass. It's just like the regular classic mid bass. So yeah, it's so good. Yeah, nothing much to be honest. It's just a basic bass. Added some chords, saw chords. Nothing much, just 3 presets and EQ. I didn't add any reverb because when I was working on another song, it just felt like the reverb kind of messed up the chords, so I did not add any reverb. I added some crowd noise fill from Martin Garrix. He uses a lot of hi-hat fills, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. The kick, I actually changed the kick like 2 times, but this is the final kick actually. Yeah, some white noise rides, so it's from a Vengeance pack, I guess. This loop. They added a fills, short fill. It's from a Vengeance sample pack, so yeah. So as for the second break, it's not a lot to be honest. It's just the same except for this part. For this part, I added some loops like from Nicky Romero pack from Splice. I love this pack from Splice. You have to differentiate the second part from the first part. Over here, it's kind of like how do I say it? It's not a lot of energy, but it's just so vibey, so heavenly over this part. Okay, so over this part I added a kick. It's an acoustic kick, not an electronic kick, to give it an acoustic feeling. And over the second build up, I actually doubled the snare up, changes here and there, not a lot. And as for the second drop, I actually increased the time. On the second half, you can hear his vocals. So I really like when there's vocals. Yeah, that's it for this track. It looks huge, but it's just copying pads and just stacking and layering everything. So yeah, this took me like 66 hours to produce, but yeah, I think it was worth it. So let's move on to him for the vocal processing.
Alright, so now it's me. So I'm just gonna go through how we did the vocals here. Alright, so the vocals were mixed mostly by Tanzz, but also guided by me.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna go through how we made the sound possible, because as you can see, the vocals and dying inside have a lot of compression and a lot of artificial noises. So we're just gonna go through how we made the artificial effect possible. So yeah, let's just go through it. We've gone through life a holding time. Alright, so I'm just gonna mute the track here for a second. So we're just gonna go through the mixed vocals now. We've gone through life a holding tight. Never thought you would leave me apart. So as you can see, it has lots of effect, and that's what makes the sound possible. You might say that it's too much to sound bad, but when you listen it with the mix and all, it does sound good, and this is all that we wanted. So let's see how we made this possible. So the first thing we did was autotune. So a little bit of autotune. I used EFX here, so it doesn't really matter. I just put it a bit medium speed, a little bit of humanization, and I just let the autotune do its work. So there's nothing much to do there. And now we're just gonna go through the main thing that we've done here. So the first thing we did after the autotune was equalization. So we just picked FabFilter Pro Q3. So it is a really good plugin, and you might have heard about it because it's really popular. It's really good sounding. So the first EQ we used, all we did was lower a bit of the harshness and also a little bit of boominess around 600 Hz, 500 Hz, 700 Hz. So this is what's there in the first EQ. Moving on. Alright, so the next thing we did after the equalization was compression. Now this is not the main compressor we've used, this is just a side compressor, and as you can see here, we haven't done much of side chaining. So people usually do a lot of side chaining and reverbs and compressors and all, but in this vocals we needed as heavy vocal as possible, and so that's why we just stacked it up one after another. So as you can see, what we used here was our Vox. Right, it's again a great compressor. It's just a slight compressor, it gives off a nice effect, and yeah, it's the compressor RVox. There's nothing much to do here, just 3 knobs, do it. Next thing we do here is again an equalizer, which is the same equalization with more reductions. So as you can see, we needed our vocals thin. We needed it thin and effecty. So what we did was cut off more than the average low cut. So we did it up to 186, which we thought it's perfect for this type of thing. So we just left it there. And also there's slight reductions around 1000 Hz, 1K to 1.3K. It's done by Tanzz. The next thing here in the chain is a compressor. Now you can say that this is our main compressor, but there will be more compressors as we go on. I won't say more, but there's like one more compressor. Alright, so it does the main job. We have the threshold pretty much low, attack a bit high, release a bit low. Yeah, so you could say this is the main compressor. What we've done is basically lowered the threshold pretty much, and also rather than increasing the attack much as we do on usually all the vocals, we decreased it more than average. So the release is already pretty low, around 40 milliseconds, and here we've reduced the attack. So a bit of gain as well. Now going on, we have some EQ. So all this basically does is increase the high end, because we do need the crispy high end here. So that's just after the compressor. So we have the limiter here, the peak controller, and also sausage here, which is basically a compressor. As I said, we're gonna use one more compressor, that's it. And a bit of more limiting, compressing with fruity balance. Just a stock plugin, nothing too complicated. I did forget to mention, but there's a lot of automations going on here. We
Yeah.
do have a lot of automations in compression and EQ and autotune as well. So Tanzz did the most of the automation, also in autotune. So that's it basically. There is reverb. So there's two reverbs, a short and a long. So for short we used R reverb, and for long we did use Valhalla Room. It's a pretty popular reverb. It's really good. It
Yeah, it's
sounds
one
good.
of the best. I use it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so this is what it was in the main vocals. And going in the background vocals, it's pretty much the same. What's more in them is that we've reduced a bit of high in there. Didn't make it as crisp as the main vocal. So it sits a bit
Yeah,
back.
it's the pitch down vocal to be in the back to add the depth to
Yeah.
to the main vocals.
So we did lower the octaves in some background vocals.
Yeah, using Little Altar Boy. It's
Yeah,
a
so
great
Little
plugin.
Altar Boy is actually really good.
Yeah.
So most of the harmonies that's here is basically artificial. I haven't done 10 takes. Yeah, so as Tanzz said, we would recommend you to use natural vocals and harmonies. But what we needed here was completely different. We needed a bit of artificialness and a bit of the effect that we wanted here. So it's something electronic. So
Yeah.
that's why we went with
Yeah.
the Little Altar Boy.
Yeah, I added my own touch to it. Do you
Yeah,
wanna-
Tanzz basically did most of the Little Altar Boy thing. Alright, so that basically covers up the vocals. It's a bit artificial, but that's what we wanted it to sound like in this track. If you learn something here, you can apply it to your own mix and try it out. Yeah, so make sure to stream Dying Inside on any of your favorite platforms. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, pretty much everything. So go ahead and make sure to listen to Dying Inside. It's a great project, and I loved working with Tanzz here.
Yeah, me too, man. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram. You can ask us for tips, and we will try to reply. Also, there's more fun content in our Instagram, especially his. So make sure to check it. See ya.